Let's all wave at the camera. Woohoo. Thank you for doing that. And let me go right to sharing my screen. Okay. All right, so this is you guys, and let's go all the way down to the bottom of the page. Assignment ERWC1 Hip Hop Planet final paragraph. Now, the original assignment on this was to actually write a letter to James McBride. And, you know, it's not a letter we would send, but it was more like an essay in a letter form. And what I wanted to do, especially since we're doing everything from a distance, is I wanted to simplify it so we could really focus on a couple of key issues in writing. So now it's only a paragraph. Now notice though the time that it's due, the day that it's due, September 20th. That is Sunday at 11:59. So today is the 16th. That gives you 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That gives you a lot of time to do one paragraph. And it's also worth 50 points, which is kind of almost like doubles what you've done so far in the assignment. So I actually have a fairly small piece of writing that is going to be worth a lot of points. That's a tremendous opportunity for you guys, because I'm also building in a lot of time for you to focus on quality, okay? That's the thing that's going to either help you succeed or not succeed on this. Completeness is not enough. It's got to be good quality work. Okay, so I built in plenty of time to allow that to happen. So let's click on it. All right. Okay, looks like there may be trouble loading this. So I'm going to have to okay. I'm just gonna have to pull this off my Google Drive. So give me a moment. Those of you who are watching this recorded, sorry about this. Okay. Okay, so anyway, this document that I have right here is just the same. It's the original copy that I made that I uploaded to Canvas. So it's the same thing. All right, let's look at the instructions together. You will write a paragraph expressing to what extent you agree or disagree with author James McBride in his essay, Hip Hop Planet. Now, you'll notice that I have italicized Hip Hop Planet. That's because it's a title. There's other rules governing how you mark a title, whether you use quote marks or whether you use underlines or whether you italicize it. And so if we were talking about the article Hip Hop Planet in a larger publication like National Geographic, where it actually came out, I would put Hip Hop Planet in quotes, and then I would use the italicized print for National Geographic. Okay, we'll cover that later when we get into MLA format and stuff like that. But I just wanted you to note that the reason I have it italicized is because it is a title. And when we're writing, we need to mark that something is a title. And you can do it with quote marks, underline, or italicized print. And there are rules governing how you do that, which I'll get to later. Okay, not later today, but late in the future. All right, so let's look at the directions. Use the sentence one I provided as an introduction and follow it with the thesis statement you developed. So the reason I gave you a one sentence introduction is because my main focus for this paragraph was thesis statement. And I wanted to really focus on that, emphasize that multiple times. And so we'll get into introduction for paragraphs later on and for essays. So I just provided this one for you because I wanted that emphasis to be on the thesis statement. So you're not obligated to use this one. If for some reason you want to change it, you just got to make sure it's good. You don't have to use mine, but if you use something other than mine, it's got to be good. And if you switch it around and it's not good, I'll take points off for that. Okay. So it's not going to be a focus in my grading much anyway. All right. So in his essay titled Hip Hop Planet, author James McBride shares his personal journey on how he came to embrace hip hop culture. Now, what you'll do then is immediately, the very next sentence, you'll follow it with the thesis statement you developed. So hopefully you did last night's assignment, you have a good solid thesis statement, and that would be your next sentence. Okay, now, direction 2, it says use at least one specific piece of evidence from the essay to support your claim. So you're either going to agree with him, some level of agree with him, or some level of disagree with him. And I'm only asking you to do one piece of supporting evidence. It better be a great one because you're only having to do one. And I fully recommend that you guys use a quote. The quote is going to be the best piece of evidence that you can use. All right. Okay, and then after that, explain what this evidence means. So don't just give the quote, you've got to explain it. I've got to understand, I've got to know that you understand what it means. So explain what this evidence means and how it supports to what extent you agree or disagree with McBride. So it's not just explaining it, but once you explain it, you got to show like, how does this support your thesis statement? To what extent you agree or disagree? So this part is several sentences. All right. A thesis statement is one and only one sentence. The evidence is going to be a quote, and that can be multiple sentences too, of course. But part 3, direction 3 here requires that you do several sentences to explain everything that you need to explain. Okay, and then finally, number 4, I want you to finish with a thought-provoking conclusion. Now, we haven't spent any time doing conclusion, so I'm not going to give this a high degree of emphasis in the grading. And you can either do a statement or you can do a rhetorical question. Okay, but try and come up with something that is at least a little bit thought-provoking and just gives it a feel of being complete. All right. So those are the 4 directions. Now, let me tell you the order of importance and how I'm grading it, what my emphasis is going to be. The most important component of this is going to be your thesis statement. That's going to get the most of my attention. Okay, after that is the piece of evidence. And I want to make sure that you understand that your evidence has to match what your thesis is. Okay, and then third in order of importance is how you explain what it means and how it supports your thesis. So it's hierarchical, okay? The most important thing, the thesis statement, second evidence, third explanation. That is it on the explanation, on the directions. Do you guys have any questions?
Does the quote have to like relate to like one of the points that we have? So like, let's say, you know how you had us choose quotes for like every, you know, thing or like evidence from the text. Does it have to be one of those, or is it like completely just a different one?
So here's the thing, the point of all those exercises was to prepare you for this. And if you picked really strong quotes in that, then you should be able to just pick whichever one you like best, and that should work. That was the intention. However, if over time you've come to discover that there's a better one, then certainly you can use the better one, okay? But just make sure it's a quote from Hip Hop Planet, and it's actually a quote. It's not you know, your it's not your extension or your application of something he said, but it's an actual quote. And so anything is free game. But hey guys, let me give you a tip though. Do not use anything from his anecdote at the beginning about the dream that he had you know, with his daughter bringing home a wrapper. That's just a little his little introduction into the article, and that's not where his main argument is coming from. So I can tell you right there, if you use something from that little anecdote, it's not going to work for you. Okay, other questions? Okay, so at this point, I am going to stop recording.